If you have doubts of Spyro coming back, if you think that Spyro is all doom and gloom, if you think all the evidence videos that have been coming out means nothing, then this video is for you. Spyro is a beloved character by many, but I've noticed many people begin to lose hope to ever see him again in his own game. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is something happening, and that even in the worst case scenario, it will lead to a Spyro title if this one thing happens. Let's talk about it. What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and I am back with a brand new Spyro video that's gonna be quite different. Typically, I start these videos where I refer to old videos and the information that I found to build a case for my argument to prove that Spyro is coming back with a new title. Brick by brick, I build a theory and a hypothesis to explain why I still think there is a Spyro title in development. But I want to pause all of that for today. I want to actually place us in the worst case scenario. Let's say, hypothetically, this entire wall of countless hours of research, editing, analysis, theories, and connections means nothing. Nada. Nothing at all. Let's say a hole the size of Ripto's ego gets smashed through and the entire tower crumbles, to basically imply that there is no Spyro title in development and Activision has no interest in making a new game. This is the mindset I want us to be in just for this video. We are literally putting ourselves in the worst case scenario for this franchise. Well, even in that terrible scenario, I'm here to tell you that a new Spyro is inevitable.
I am inevitable.
There is only one thing that needs to happen that would almost guarantee it. That is Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Now, some of you might be confused by this statement. How? Why? How do we know this? Also, many might be nervous, confused, or angry about this acquisition in general. Some thoughts like, what if Crash and Spyro go exclusive to Xbox? Well, let me explain everything. Now, if you don't know, Xbox acquiring Activision Blizzard to the tune of almost $70 billion has been going on now for about a year, and it has been an absolute gong show, primarily predicating on Sony not wanting Xbox to have Call of Duty's exclusivity in any way, shape, or form. Though at one point it was looking like Sony was making ground in the legal battle, it now seems like the scales have tilted to Xbox's favor, as more regulatory bodies and companies that were against the purchase are starting to approve of the sale, meaning that more than likely at this point, the sale will go through and will be approved. But why would Xbox owning Activision mean that we would get a Spyro game? Here is the main reason. It is well known that working under Xbox means one large resounding fact, and that is creative freedom. Xbox doesn't quite push for certain titles or for games to happen. They essentially ask the creators and the developers what they want to make and kind of let them have free reign over what they want to do, allowing the studios to design and make something that really resonates with not only the players, but the creators themselves. In a recent interview with Phil Spencer, the CEO of Xbox, they were discussing the acquisition and what they would be doing with the studios that they would acquire from Activision. Here is the clip.
Think about Activision, Blizzard games. I think about the long history of great franchises there, making them more accessible by, like, obviously things will be for sale, but also part of Game Pass, I think is a great value for players. I also want to be able to give those creative teams as much freedom as I can to go do some just amazing, amazing things. For the creator community at large, and I think we've seen this, if you look in reactions to the deal, it's not like you've seen the industry come out against, like third-party creators come out against the acquisition, because we're trying to create a larger marketplace for people who are building games across more screens. Yeah. Different business models help players and it helps creators as well. And that's our job. And in the end, this has to benefit players and creators or it hasn't been successful for Xbox.
I'm going to repeat one small portion. There's really a point here that I really need to be heard and understood.
I also want to be able to give those creative teams as much freedom as I can to go do some just amazing, amazing things.
That clip backs up everything that I just said. Phil wants creators to have freedom on what they want to make. So that means if Xbox acquires Activision Blizzard, that means the studios will have creative freedom that they didn't quite have before. However, we are missing a key ingredient, something that confirms an inevitable Spyro sequel, and that is the interest from the developers themselves. Ultimately, if they are given creative freedom, the developers are going to make whatever they want. So the question is there a want or a desire to make a new Spyro game? If you're enjoying the video so far and you have a want or desire for more Spyro content, make sure to subscribe as I cover everything Spyro the Dragon related. Anyway, back to the video. So in terms of interest and desire, let's take a look at Toys for Bob by itself. In their most recent title, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Spyro Easter eggs are literally littered throughout the entire game, from a Spyro dinghy, a Spyro float, and even crystal dragons. In the upcoming new Crash Team Rumble game, Spyro's wing was allegedly discovered in the background of the Crash Team Rumble website, pseudo-confirming that Spyro will be a playable character in Crash Team Rumble, along with Ripto as his amulet was also discovered in the background. On top of that, Toys for Bob has confirmed that they are making a celebration day out of Spyro's 25th anniversary, which is kind of huge because Crash's 25th anniversary hinted a brand new game. On top of all that, there are numerous TikToks and videos of the Toys for Bob team showing off Spyro gear, along with Spyro merch showing up in Crash Bandicoot's TikToks, and Toys for Bob joining in on our Spyro community days that we host throughout the year. However, though all of this interest is well and good, there is one person that shared their interest that could be the key to absolutely everything, and that person is Paul Yan. Now, if you don't know, Paul Yan is not only the co-studio head at Toys for Bob, but is also the CCO, that is, Chief Creative Officer. Now, I want to hammer in my point so that you can understand the weight and the brevity of this job and how huge of an impact this has on the studio itself. Here is Indeed's definition of what a Chief Creative Officer does. Quote, a Chief Creative Officer, CCO, typically holds the highest executive role within an organization's creative department. They use their creativity and leadership skills to direct a brand's overall artistic design strategy. Okay, so Paul Yan holds the job that leads the studio's creative direction in an overall stance. That is massive in a video game space, especially since video games are considered as a creative art form. So you would say that the opinion of the Chief Creative Officer would be quite heavy in terms of the direction that the team wants to go, right? Well, back in March 2022, Dazzling Dazad, a prominent member of the Crash and Spyro social communities, posted this picture on the Crash Bandicoot Clubhouse Twitter page, asking people, you can give two of these franchises a new game. Which two do you choose? On it, we have Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Spyro, Rayman, Banjo-Kazooie, Ape Escape, Gex, and Croc. Can you guess who was one of the people that actually commented on this post? Yep, you probably guessed it. Paul Yan. His comment was, Spyro and Banjo. Now remember what this post said. You can give two franchises a brand new game. So if Paul had the choice, according to him, he would make a new Spyro and Banjo game. And it turns out that he might actually have that option and choice. So let's tie everything together in a nice, new, solid foundation. Xbox is trying to acquire Activision. If Xbox acquires Activision, they acquire Toys for Bob. Xbox gives large creative liberties and freedom to studios that they own, which means Toys for Bob would be given complete creative freedom. Toys for Bob has expressed interest in Spyro multiple times through a variety of Easter eggs in recent projects and in social media posts, along with the Chief Creative Officer, the highest role within creative direction at the studio, expressed interest in creating a new sequel publicly for Spyro. Taking everything in consideration, even with the most negative point of view imaginable, if the Xbox acquisition completes, then a new Spyro is likely inevitable. Again, this is assuming that we are in the worst case scenario. And I don't think we are. I think there is a game in development as we speak, but just in case, even in the worst case scenario, Spyro will still seem to make a comeback. Basically, all roads lead to Spyro. Now, there are two issues that I know the comment section is going to be littered with. The first one is, look what happened to Banjo-Kazooie. Xbox is going to ditch Spyro just like they did with that franchise. Actually, I made a video about this and you can check it out here, but the long short of it is that Banjo-Kazooie not being made is actually not up to Xbox, but the decision is being left in Rare's hands, and Rare has chosen for it to not be made at the moment. Not to mention Xbox's literal massive support for Psychonauts 2, which was a platformer that's original game was released during the era of Crash and Spyro. That kind of debunks the idea of them not wanting to work with projects like that. The second question is that will Spyro become exclusive to Xbox? No, I don't think it will. And I actually have another video explaining that right here. So if you want to check those out, go right ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video and our live stream. Bye bye!